Okay, hello guys, my name is Mia Marie, and you are currently watching my Synastry Compatibility series where I go through all the 12 signs, sun signs, and how they get along. Now, as a general disclaimer, we reference so much more than just the sun sign for compatibility, but the importance of the sun and understanding someone's sun sign and accepting it and supporting it is that the sun sign describes the motives, the behaviors, the experiences that contribute to someone's sense of sanity. So we're not talking so much about what someone needs emotionally or how they flirt or what makes them great in bed, all of those very, romantic topics. We're talking about how to support someone's vitality, someone's sense of self, and someone's healing human journey. So keep in mind that this is just a gentle introduction, and you can get so much more by booking a session with me or another fantastic astrologer. Someone who is born with the sun in Virgo is here to purify. Now, it doesn't always come off that way, and if you don't have a trained eye or ear, you can feel judged and criticized when a Virgo is around, because what they do, it's like their love language. They listen to you, they watch what you're doing, and they point out what's not working, what you're doing wrong, and what you can do better. And the reason why they want to do this in every area of their life, not only towards their partner, is because when you fix all of the things that are wrong, then you are often left purified, clean, clear. You're able to think clearly. You're able to connect with soul. There's often a spiritual component to a Virgo. They're the opposite of Pisces, and they are big on acts of service. That's often their love language. They have a huge focus on health, routines, systems. They are quick thinkers. It can be really hard to calm their body down at the end of the night. That's how it manifests. It's ruled by Mercury. And so they have an amazing capacity to analyze information and to synthesize information, but it can sometimes manifest in the nervous system as being like jittery or on edge. They can kind of sleep with one eye open. Virgo is the second earth sign, and so it takes Taurus's competence, skill set, and confidence, self-confidence, and it goes, okay, how can we apply this to serve more people? How can we market this? How can we sell this? What systems do we need to have in place? What processes does this require? They like to cut labor in half, but they're also very laborious at the same time. They enjoy working and they like being of service, but they just want to cut the steps in half. They like hacking things, taking shortcuts. They will study information. As I said, they're ruled by Mercury, and so they'll study patterns until they have them mastered and figured out, and then they'll find a way to advance the system. Pure, undisturbed Virgo is so neat and tidy. Now, I know very many Virgos who are a complete, it's chaos. In their mind, it's chaos, but it's because of the other placements. Pure Virgo will color coordinate things. Everything will have a label. Everything has a place. Everything has a home, because that way things run efficiently. If there's stuff on the floor, they can't move as quickly as they want. Now, another side to Virgo is when they're overstimulated, what they will do is they'll turn to Pisces qualities. They will turn to escapist tendencies, and this can manifest in multiple different ways. The most obvious one that I've seen is Virgos can often drink quite heavily when they are overwhelmed. So if you see a Virgo really throwing them back, it's because they are taking on so much, they're doing so much, and they're probably not giving themselves the pat on the back that they deserve. In fact, that is the one thing that they do not do is they accomplish things, and as soon as it's accomplished, they're like, yeah, I was supposed to do that. It wasn't that big of a deal. And so there is never that moment of wow, like they don't have a sense of accomplishment after they do something. They feel like they just have to keep going, and they have a to-do list, and they keep adding to it, and they just keep going nonstop. And so it's really helpful for them, and I'll go into this when I talk about specific signs. It's really helpful for them to have a partner who makes them pause and appreciate themselves. The risk that Virgo runs, where they can kind of get confused, is that they want to be of service, but they oftentimes put themselves in the position of being a servant to a job, to a partner, and it takes multiple experiences of them just running on E before they recognize that there is a way to be available to people and to be helpful and to make an impact, but not at the expense of their mental health and their physical well-being. They will do anything for the person that they love. But should they? Like that's the balance. Should they? When I think of Virgo, I think of that movie Holes, and that character who's like, I can fix that. They always show up, I can fix that, I can do that. Oh, gorgeous. So let's talk about some deal breakers as it relates to a Virgo. Virgo is an earth sign. Though it is changeable, mutable, flexible, understanding, empathetic, tolerant, it will not tolerate someone who is duplicitous and untrustworthy. They don't like someone who is unreliable. They won't tolerate, say, someone who has like someone who is like a bee, going from flower to flower. They want commitment. They want loyalty. They want someone who is in it for the long haul. Because they are so dedicated and so loyal, they don't like mind games, and they do not tolerate emotional manipulation. If you're going to be playing those games, they're going to be very quickly disinterested, and they will tell you. They'll be like, you know what? No, you're immature and you have tons of work to do, and they'll list all of the reasons why they can't be with you, and then they'll just walk away. This is not an absolute truism for every Virgo in the world, but from my personal experience, I find that Virgos are always in a job that requires serving the community. And this can manifest as something as simple as like working as a mailman, or being a nurse, or being an esthetician. Like there's some skill that they develop that allows them to be of service to the community. But largely they're in healthcare, or they have a strong interest in health. Like how good is the quality of food that you're eating? How balanced is your diet? They're all over vitality, health. It goes back to like that, they're represented by the Virgin, like Mother Teresa, someone who shows up for others, who has like a heart that never gets tired. So I would be curious to see, if your Virgo is in that type of work. When someone has their sun in Sagittarius, we see a soul that comes to earth in effort to understand, accept, and love the other, whatever that means to them. And their job is to turn around and teach the rest of us how to understand, accept, and love the other. They want the world to feel bigger. That is a quality of Sagittarian love, or Sagittarian energy, is if it's good, make it bigger. It's ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is the planet that is the same size as all the other planets combined, but it's filled with nothing but hot air. And so Sagittarius has this tendency from time to time to overpromise and underdeliver. And it's not because you just fall low on their list of priorities that they don't show up. It's that they want to say yes to everything. If they could, they would be everywhere at once, because they're stimulated that way. In order to understand other people, you have to subject yourself to multiple different situations. And this is why they also enjoy traveling, because there is this inner knowing or recognition of perspectives and how limited they can be. And so when they're traveling, or they need to get away for a little bit, it's not just them needing a vacation and they're just running around, running away from responsibilities. They are actually doing soul work when they're out there. They're having conversations. They're learning about how other people operate in the world and what they believe and why they believe that. And so freedom is really important to a Sagittarius because it feeds their soul. It contributes to their motive to learn, accept, and love. Now, Sagittarius is a fire sign, and it is Jupiter. So this is someone who feels really positive. They're optimistic, they're expansive, they're typically learned, they have a talent or skill, or there's just something that they know really well, and they seem to have, it's like they're born with this wise old man inside of them. They have wisdom to share with other people, and they often position themselves, low functioning, is like they're preaching at you, but they're a professor of sorts to the rest of us. Now, being the third fire sign, Sagittarius takes the ego that Aries has established, the personality that Leo has created and celebrated, and then goes, okay, I'm kind of done with the social thing. I'm ready for something bigger. What is the meaning of life? Why am I here? And so oftentimes they will subscribe to a specific belief system, a philosophy that they've learned, or they have some kind of religious background or religious association. And what you will see more often than not is that they grew up in an environment where certain beliefs were instilled in them. And there happens to be like an aha moment where they recognize either, yes, this is for me and I'm going to build on it, or, oh, I actually think that life works differently. Let me go and figure it out. Sagittarius has a reputation of being hesitant to commit. They like to keep their options open. And the main reason behind that is they're like a wild horse. They need to know that they can go anywhere, that they can explore anything at any time. And the idea of a relationship inherently means that there have to be boundaries somewhere. And they're like, what? Does that mean I have to stay in this stable? They tend to be extreme also. And so when things are presented to them, they'll take it to the fullest extreme. Oh, if I'm in a relationship, I'm just hanging out with you all day, and it makes them feel bound. And that goes against everything that they live for, everything that they stand for, everything that they're trying to accomplish. They have a big mission. They're a universally oriented sign. And so you can see why as soon as they think of relationship, it's like, no. But what I found is that Sagittarius characters are excellent in relationships, but so long as you are willing to be truthful and to have honest conversations about what the other person needs, and there needs to be a mutual respect and understanding for the other person's agenda. So if you are someone who is independent and you have your own hobbies and your own life going, then this should be a pretty easy match because they do always come back. They need to touch base. They need to come home. They're not like Gemini, where Gemini has no problem being homeless spiritually. Sagittarius likes a place where it can go back to rest. And so I think that they are good at relationships, but you can't cage them in. If they want to travel for a couple of weeks alone, you have to be able to manage your own insecurity and be like, you know what? I see what you're doing. I support you. Have fun. Have the best time of your life. If you want to be in constant communication with them, if you want to go with them everywhere, unless you're a wild horse too, then you guys can mom together. They just don't want to be stopped. So it's not that they don't like shared experiences. It's not that they need to be independent. They just need someone who's going to carry the same energy as them because they are very much aware of how people are coming off and they are sensitive to negative or low functioning energy. And so at the beginning of the relationship, they might tolerate it for a little bit, but they'll be very quick to just say, it doesn't feel good. And they may even create distance and just start doing things by themselves. Another thing is that even when they are in relationships, they are still flirty and playful with other people because they really just have so much energy and so much curiosity that they can spread themselves very thin. And it's not necessarily that they have more interest in somebody else. It's just like, oh, that's new. That's new. I haven't seen that before. Let me go talk to that. And so kind of having, I don't want to say thick skin because they're not overtly disrespectful in my personal experience, but you will find them from time to time being flirtatious with somebody else. And it's like, okay, have your fun. And when they cross the line because they're not going to be quiet about it. All other aspects to the side. Pure Sagittarius energy is not going to be quiet about the disrespect. It'll be obvious. It'll be right in front of you. And it's important to remember that it is ruled by the element of fire. And so they need something to burn. They need something to do. If there's nothing to do, if there's nothing to explore, if there's nothing that they're working on that provides meaning and value, they are going to burn themselves out. And because they're so optimistic, they're going to forget what it feels like when they push themselves to that extreme or when they're unstimulated in that way. So they can find themselves in that rut time and time again. But, you got to feed the fire. Being a sign that's here to learn and understand life deeply and examine life deeply and make meaning of it, they appreciate someone who is also intelligent, someone who is focused on growing and learning and developing, because they want a stimulating conversation. They don't actually get off to always having power or always having authority. They want to feel like their partner is accelerating in their development with them. Again, like two wild horses running together is what they would like ideally. Some deal breakers for Sagittarius. One thing that will immediately turn them off and make them pissed off is if you're not being honest and they know it. If they have collected like evidence towards you, or if they've seen something firsthand, or if they just have a gut feeling that something is off and they confront you and you're nervous to own up to your own shit or to have an uncomfortable conversation, they're not going to like it. And the blessing is that it is a fire sign. So for the most part, they get hot really quickly, but they also want to go back to that positive charge really quickly. So their goal is to like, let's just put it out on the table. Like, what's going on right now? Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you're feeling so we can move past it. They don't want to stay in a dark place, especially in their relationships. Another thing that they don't like is, again, being held too tightly. It's like Sagittarius, even though, it's not a water sign, it's like trying to hold water in your hands. The tighter that you grasp it, it's just going to spill. It's a slippery lover. It has parallels to like the theory of money and abundance. It's a slippery lover. And so it comes to you and it stays with you so long as you are willing to share it. So if they come to you and you're wanting to hold them and keep them and you're just tight and tense, just like money, just like abundance, they're going to stop coming to you because they're for the streets. They're for the world. And so yes, you can't put a leash on a Sagittarius. You just have to trust that they will come home, and they will. Also, if you are inflexible, if you believe what you believe and you're unwilling to at least understand, the bare minimum is just understand. If you are unable to show that you can comprehend what they've learned and what they're integrating, then they're going to find you boring, stale, and unattractive. Another important quality is that they are spontaneous. Sometimes the fire is just lit at any hour of the day, and so they appreciate someone who is adventurous. For example, if you are laying in bed, it's like 3 a.m, and Sagittarius wakes up and goes, "Hey, do you want to go to Japan tomorrow?" The ideal partner is going to say, "Why don't we get up, make some coffee or make some tea, and let's talk about it." Now, someone who's not going to be a good match for Sagittarius is someone who dismisses the impetus to explore, who looks at them and says, "It's 3 a.m. We have responsibilities. What are you doing?" Contractual. It's someone who's tight, right? No. Entertain the inspiration. Let them see it through. Sun in Virgo, Sun in Sagittarius. Textbook astrology says that these two should not get along. And I won't say they won't get along, but I will say you guys would probably shine the brightest if you guys are doing something as it relates to business. I feel like you met at work. Did you meet at work? So Virgo is an introverted sign, and Sagittarius is an extroverted sign. So when they wake up, they're in different conditions. Virgo wakes up charged. "I'm ready to go. Throw me in, coach." Sagittarius wakes up, its body is rested, but there's no pilot light. Sagittarius needs to move to generate the energy that Virgo has accumulated by sleeping. And so, Virgo's here, Sagittarius is here, and throughout the day, what we see is this magic moment when they're at the same energy levels and they're kind of feeling each other, and then again, they part ways. And I think that this is going to be an energetic exchange that follows you throughout the relationship because you guys are both mutable signs. So not only are you both changeable, not only are you both flexible and adaptable to situations as they arise, which is beneficial in a relationship as long as one of you is grounded, but neither of you are grounded, right? So you're changeable and your rhythms are different. So it's hard for you guys to naturally cross paths unless like a contract of some sort brings you back together, like a business. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, which means it's all about the mind and systems and efficiency. It wants to look at how things are done, and it's going to critique all of the things that need to be fixed. It will work to fix them, and that's kind of how a Virgo's life works, is it's born with these lenses that see the flaws in everything. And it can be hard, especially for a Sagittarius. And it's even hard for me to explain as a Pisces because we're so opposite, me and Virgo. But Virgo's born with these lenses that find the flaw in all. And it can come off as critical or judgmental, or like, man, Virgo, why do you always have to look at the glass half empty? Like, there's water in there, it's half full. That's what a Sagittarius might think. And Virgo is like, but there's still a deficiency there and we need to fill in, and quick. And so what might happen is, being both mutable signs, Virgo will actually enjoy being around Sagittarius because Sagittarius knows how to have fun. And it brings conversations that kind of distract Virgo from the smaller, low level, or not low level, because I don't want to put them on a hierarchical structure. But Sagittarius has a way of bringing conversation that pulls people out of their personal narrative, out of the duties and tasks and responsibilities, and brings them into this magical philosophical space where we're talking about a subject so big that Virgo can actually take a deep breath and relax. Virgo does not bring that same energy to Sagittarius. Sagittarius can feel Virgo's anxiety, because anxiety manifests physically for a Virgo. It can't sit still. It has this to-do list and it wants to check everything off. It wants everything color coordinated. And even though Sagittarius may like tap out of what Virgo is saying, the energy is still right there. And so what you can find is a Sagittarius getting irritated or short-tempered or suddenly like, oh, I gotta go. They will have a repulsion towards that energy because it doesn't want to be dragged down. It sounds like a lot. And when Sagittarius looks at what a Virgo is so concerned about, it's like, why are you wrestling with the details? You know, take a step back. Let's enjoy life. Let's get level-headed. And so you can have that going on. Now, because you guys are both mutable signs, it's hard to establish a plan long-term because you guys are both changeable. And so even like committing to date night might be quite challenging because Virgo is constantly in service to its work, or well, really it just wants to be of service to people. And so if anyone comes to Virgo for advice, for help, Virgo is probably going to be the first person to hop in their car and, you know, help a friend out or help their job out if they're short-staffed. And Sagittarius can just get lost in a good time, you know, or get lost in thought. And so again, we have this really chaotic way of like not coming together. At the beginning of the video, I asked you if you guys met at work because I thought you guys would make a great business partnership. And the reason why I say this is when you guys commit to a mission bigger than yourselves, right? Because we have a universally oriented sign and a socially oriented sign. When you guys agree on something and you guys say start a company, Virgo will naturally take over the nitty gritty, dirty, detailed work that Sagittarius would never want to touch. Now, in any other situation, Sagittarius would look at Virgo like, why are you taking this so seriously? Why are you paying attention to these details? In this scene, Sagittarius readily recognizes and appreciates the stress that Virgo feels because it's like, oh yeah, like this person is paying attention to things that matter, you know, like we're building something. These things actually do need to be worked out. And so Virgo feels seen, appreciated, and also in service to two things: their line of work, which is what they live for, and their partner. And at the same time, Sagittarius feels like Virgo is genuinely helping them in an area that they struggle with. Sagittarius is not here to look down and narrow. It's here to expand and grow and widen. And so Sagittarius does not have the desire to do the things that Virgo thrives at. It allows Sagittarius to shine in other ways. You know, we're thinking big picture. What is the long-term goal here? What is our overarching mission? What are the pillars of our company and how do we embody that? What types of people are we going to hire? What is next is where Sagittarius is going. With this particular configuration, it's important to look at what each person has in their chart. Like, what are their other placements? Because that will make a huge impact. Specifically, where are the suns located? Because they're both mutable signs, which means that they are going to also adapt and absorb the information of the house placement. So you could have a Sagittarius who has their sun in the 6th house, the house of Virgo. And this is someone who really appreciates routine and will not vary, you know, in what they do from day to day. They find, and they also carry like a nervous energy, and that would work obviously very well with the Virgo. There would be an unexpected simpatico that would fly in the face of pop astrology and everything that I've just shared with you. And then on the other hand, you can have, Virgo sun in the ninth house of Sagittarius. And this is someone who wants to be of service to a philosophy. Boom, right? There's the magic. There is the secret sauce. And so even though as archetypes, these two stand at a distance, it doesn't mean that you too, as very complex, multifaceted souls and human beings, will also stand at a distance. But this is one of those combinations where I would highly advise that you work with an astrologist. If not me, then somebody else who you trust. If you would like to work with me, you can find me at willandrising.com/services. Toodles.